Good morning. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a lovely weekend. Teresa Richard asked me to make a video about Earl's lawsuit against Leon Valley and Salvaggio. I don't know if you remember this, but way back in 2018, there were a bunch of people protesting the city of Leon Valley, and it was a march or something like that. I don't know, but there's a whole bunch of people protesting. And Salvaggio came out with a bunch of his goons, his officers, his police officers, and they arrested these people en masse for nothing, for literally nothing. And their story changed on like why they were arresting people. Initially they were being arrested, but then they were witnesses and like blah, 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 right? Anyway, an attorney from, I want to say Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, somewhere up there in the north central states of America. His name's on the tip of my tongue. I just don't remember his name right now. Anyway, somebody reached out to him apparently, or maybe he reached out to everybody, and he decided to represent them in the case, or they decided to allow him to represent them in their case because they had a good case. They have a good case. They have a good case. Not only they had a good case, but they have a good case because their case is going forward. Now, Earl claims that this particular attorney, who makes his living representing, I looked him up, and he's had a whole bunch of federal lawsuits where he represents prisoners in civil rights lawsuits. He literally makes his living representing prisoners in a civil rights lawsuit. And Earl says this guy would not represent him. Bullshit. Anyway, so Earl did not join in the lawsuit with everybody else. And so their lawsuit got filed and went ahead and is proceeding apace, as one would expect a federal lawsuit to proceed. And Earl decided, apparently like a month or two ago, I don't remember, probably about 2 months ago, to file his own lawsuit. Now, I made a video on it back then, said, hey, dude, like I read it and like, you're not gonna win. You need an attorney. Anyway, I said at the time that Earl has a real statute of limitations problem, that his theory of continuing tort was inapplicable, at least according to my understanding of Texas law, and that most likely they were going to file a motion to dismiss based on the statute of limitations having run. And I think it was a 2-year statute of limitations in Texas, and so he missed it by a long shot. Because it's based on a 1983 lawsuit is based on the states that you sue in. It's based on that state's personal injury statute of limitations. So like California's 2 years. I think Texas is 2 years. Maybe it's 3. I don't know. But anyway, it's not 4 years. So anyway, oddly enough, the city of Leon Valley and the police officers, they filed a motion to dismiss, citing exactly the things I said they were going to cite. And Earl had an opportunity to respond. Now, this is a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that Earl filed. Remember? Multi-million dollars. I don't remember exactly how many millions, but it was a lot of millions. And it was enough that if you thought that there was an actual possibility of you prevailing, you would take the time to make a couple $1,000,000 or more, right? One would assume. For a couple $1,000,000, I'd take the time, brother. I would be nosing the books. I'd be figuring stuff out. I'd be writing the most persuasive brief I could, responding to their motion to dismiss, opposing their motion to dismiss. Anyway, Earl didn't do that. Earl did not respond at all to their motion to dismiss. And so the federal court dismissed it. Now, they did dismiss it without prejudice, which means that Earl could refile it. Unfortunately, Earl is running into the exact same issue, except it's even further past the statute of limitations now. So there may have been something that might have excused a slight delay, but it's a longer delay now. It's an even longer delay. I mean, there might have been something. I know California had something that told the statute of limitations for various things during COVID, and there might have been something like that in Texas law. We'll never know at this point, right? Anyway, which really brings me to the point of this, because I like to have points. I like to have points to my videos. Now, everybody misses my points. I remember the last video I talked about, like if you got the right, if you were granted the right to film in court, what would you do with those films? And like 90% of the responses are like, well, we should have the right to film, or we already do have the right to film. Just the courts are messing it up. Just missing the point. Anyway, so the point of this, like previous one, red flag laws, but I was actually talking about what makes someone a statist, and everybody was talking about the red flag laws, and no one was talking about what it took to be a statist. So the point of this is that this is an ongoing trend with auditors. Not just letting lawsuits go by the wayside, but like not following these things through to the end. Like, hey, I'm fighting police corruption. I'm fighting for your right to film in police stations, to film in post offices, to film in whatever, and no one follows through. No one follows through. We had Turner v. Driver, which is an excellent case that established that it is now clearly established in the Fifth Circuit that you have a right to film police. Now, that right to film police is subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions, and it was an analysis based on forum. It was a forum analysis that was based on Turner filming the police from a public sidewalk. It was a forum analysis. Everybody seems to forget that. Oh, Philip Turner understands this case. That's why he thinks he could go inside a police station and film, because he has the right to film police. ... You have a right to film police in public. In public. The Fifth Circuit found you had a right to film the police in the circumstances Philip Turner was in. But anyway, I'm getting off my own point. The point is people fail to follow through, or they take settlements. I mean, so Turner did it. Turner went all the way to the Court of Appeals. He spent his own money. God bless the man. I hold nothing against him. He doesn't understand the decision that's named after him, but good for him for actually fighting for what he believed in and taking the time and effort to get something on the books to show that right was established. So now the next person who comes along can actually make a monetary recovery, theoretically. But everybody else just either they don't file or they settle. It's freaking crazy. Or if they do file, I'm not getting informed of it. If you think you have a right to film in a post office and the police trespass you from that post office based on what the post office says, if you don't sue the post office, then you've wasted everybody's time. You've literally wasted your own time. You've wasted the police's time. You've wasted the post office's time. You've wasted your audience's time. If you don't follow through and don't file that lawsuit, because that's the only way you're going to make the change. There's no political solution. Forever, there has been no political solution. The state is not going to give up any of its power ever. It's just going to accumulate more. And by the state, I mean the federal government and the state government and the city government. They're just going to accumulate more. People aren't going to rise up in armed revolution. They're just not. I mean, they haven't yet. I don't see them doing this. I mean, the state just keeps taking more and more and more, but no one does anything. So your only solution at this point is the judiciary branch. That's it. That's all you got, the judiciary branch. And if you're not using the judiciary branch, you're wasting everybody's time. Bringing the stuff to the public attention isn't going to do anything, because you can't vote your way out of any of this. You can't. It's not going to happen. Good luck. You're not going to do it. And people aren't going to rise up in revolution over it. So, and no one's even going to really bring a big protest. I mean, the nickel and dime stuff that we saw up in, what's his name? Freeman posted about it. Someplace, God, what was that? New Mexico or something? I don't remember exactly where it was. Some nickel and dime protest. Like, all right, dude, whatever. Anyway, if you're not suing, you're not going to win, and you're not going to make changes. that means you're not serious. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.